Three rounds of the 8-way championships, and the overnight story is like this. In third place in the 2-way dynamic, we've got the way 2 dynamic. In second place, we've got Ice and Mountain, and taking the lead with 2:10.421 is the Ninjas from Windor. And in the 8-way, in third place, QATAR Falcons with 70 points, the girls with 73, and the Elders here from Wimby with 76. An intense fight, and that last round of 8-way was beautiful to watch.
It was stunning with that 12 in it. That's a fast block. The 4 is a fast block. Wemby Elders scored a 34 on that. Amazing, because they were level with the girls going into it, and they pulled up 3 points on them. 34 for an 8-way score. That's amazing.
It is, it's very good. We've got 2 blocks of action for you today. We've got the morning sessions and the afternoon sessions. And we're starting off this morning with the N2, we call it, in the 4-way.
Yes, it's double A.
And then into the N1, which is, as we would normally call, the single A. It's 4-way formation skydiving, teams of 4 people with a predetermined set of moves that they must perform as many times as possible in the allocated time. If it doesn't make sense, watch and learn, and in the next couple of hours we'll be explaining to you with our expert commentator Leslie Galen, veteran of competition in formation skydiving, 4-way, 8-way, 16-way, big way formations. You've got a big way camp coming up soon, which is leading to a European big way female record, I believe.
Yes, in Ukraine, out of 2 Antonov 72s that lift 64 people to altitude in 8 minutes. They go to 15 grand so fast it's not even worth putting the oxygen on. You put it on and then it's time to take it off again. So I haven't jumped one of those for a long time, since the days of the Espace Boogie, Regan. You'll be one of the few people who remember that.
Yeah, that was events we used to have all over Europe for skydivers, where they could go and take their vacation jumping out of planes instead of just lying on a beach. And those events still happen all over the world. But this morning we've got this 4-way competition for you. And how many teams have we got in total? Do we know exactly how many we have?
There's 24 in the seniors,
yeah,
in the AAA. I think it's about 13 in the single A. In the double A, we're going to start with N2 and then go into N1. So
right,
start with double A and then go into the big boys, the AAA. And this is of course going to decide who is going to be the representative at the European Championships in Voss.
Yeah,
coming up pretty soon.
And the World Meet in Bahrain at the end of the year as well.
Of course, the whisk.
So when we talk about these 2 categories, what is the difference between the A and single A and double A? Is it a senior? Is it a more advanced?
Yeah, AAA is more advanced, or the N1 as we call it. The N2 that's about to go in, the double A, they'll only do the blocks that don't swap people, so everybody will always have a repeating dive. There'll be the same slot in each go. And generally it's for less experienced people, it doesn't matter so much on age. And I think we're wrapping up, and the first team is in.
What's your PCP? Team 501.
Quite high in the tunnel. The puzzle is 119. So that's Snowflake, Offset, and Ritz Ice Pick. So they're just going into the 1 now, building these ones cheated, which you don't have to do in this massive tunnel, but it is a more efficient block move.
And we've got numbers here.
A nice booty grip coming out on the 19 there.
And we've got the numbers and the letters. What's the difference? What are the numbers and what are the letters? What does that mean?
The numbers are blocks, so that means that's what they're doing now. So it means they'll start in 1 formation and do a set sequence between the 2. Maybe they have to all fly as individuals. Maybe they fly as a 3 in a 1-way or as 2 pairs, and then they build a second formation. So they get a point for the start of the block. Provided they do the correct inter, they'll get a point for the bottom of the block. So 2 points to be had there.
And a lot of the
Whereas when it's a letter,
yes,
when it's a letter, it's a random. They just build a point, build a formation, get the point, get out of it.
So an easy way for the public to understand would be when it's a number, like we've got these 2 numbers here. Generally, not all the time, but generally it'll be breaking up into 2 pairs of 2s, and they'll do an individual move before they go back together.
Yes, and by the nature of it, that's going to take a longer time than just 4 people breaking and moving to another formation.
And you can see here now with this 1 and 19, that's exactly what happens with both of these formations. They break down into 2 pairs who do a rotation and then join again.
The N2, as we're watching now, or the double A, as we would say in other areas of Europe, they're only going to do shorter dives as well. You can see that was just 2 blocks, so that's 4 points per skydive or per flight, if you like. Whereas the seniors, the N1 that we're going to go into later, the AAA, their rounds are 5 or 6 points. And then if they get a non-repeater, so say a point and outside centre are swapping on the block, they can have a 10 or a 12-point skydive. A little bit of a fracas getting in there. You can see that these teams aren't as experienced as, say, the 8-way that we were watching yesterday. But it's great to see, to have these different levels of competition, because it's an entry level. There's 22 blocks, 16 randoms. That's an awful lot of formations for somebody new to 4-way to learn. But because they start off with single A, then do double A, and there's a reduced pool, then they sort of learn and get good at a selection of the blocks and randoms, and then gradually build on their knowledge.
Time up for that team now as they make their way out. And with it being a national championships with all these teams, there's a good possibility that many of these flyers, Leslie, might have not flown together before. It might be the first time they've put that 4 people together in a competition, so it's a great experience for everybody involved.
Yes, there's more than a few scratch teams in the meet who've got no time together at all, or they've maybe done 15 minutes just at 2 o'clock in the morning. And these guys look like, this is Le Frère des Côtes. They look as though they could do with having a slightly higher wind speed to me. They're all flying quite knees down and really struggling to stay up in the tunnel. Each team will do a test flight where they go in and they set the percentage of the full speed of the tunnel that they would like to fly at, and that percentage is then set for the rest of the competition. And I would say these guys, Skolem Korba, have perhaps had their wind speed set a little bit low. It doesn't look like it's a very efficient flying position. So that was Skolem Korbas. And next we have the Fly Pinot. In Fly Pinot, we got quite a difference in age between this team. We've got Florine and Baptiste with 21, who are 21 and 26.
Yeah.
And then Olivier and David, who are both 43. Nice. 19, this looks like the best team that we've seen so far. Oh, a little bit of confusion going to that one there, but managing to keep it going through the indecision. And they're getting a nice stop on level on their 19. A lot of the others were getting a booty grip when you come out the top, which just shows that you're not level, whereas they're coming out on the knees, which means that they're then nice to go into the next point, going back to the one. They don't have that height difference to make up. Very nice round there from the Fly Pinot.
For new people starting in 4-way, Leslie, what we're seeing now, people who are just getting to do it for the first time. 19 can be quite a tricky block. It's one of those that can just test you a little bit in your skills.
It is, because you turn the piece backward from the way that you expect it. We all like to turn a side body piece forward, and yet this turning backwards thing, you don't really know where you are, and the person at the front, they have no visuals until they're coming round, so it can be a bit of a surprise.
And the one as well can be quite tricky. It's a very long formation. You know, I know we're in one of the bigger wind tunnels, but it just tests the skills a little bit.
Yes, this one, they're building that quite straight, and that wouldn't be possible in a 16-foot tunnel. Oh dear, they've busted one. Unfortunately, they built the top of the block there, and then the person on the back dropped hold of the grip, so they won't score back that. They've gone back to the top of the one, they've built that so they will score that point, and a nice block move and close, and it looks like it's all over. That will have cost him a bit, but good communication, just keeping going. That's what it's all about, is don't look at each other in the tunnel with blank faces, just keep going, build something.
It's an experience over a couple of days, 10 rounds. It's a good challenge, isn't it? You're putting yourself in a situation, a sporting situation with a team dynamic over a long period of time, over many hours. It's a real game.
It is, and they'll all have the first round nerves. For some reason you get those butterflies in the stomach, even though you know it doesn't matter, whatever level it is. Even the N2 guys that, you know, they put on the scoreboard that all they want is not to come last, you know, that's what they've been saying. Then of course they care about what they do. They're entering a competition, they feel a pride in their performance, you know, and they want to do well. Everyone always feels better when they got the first round out of the way. Even if it hasn't been such a great round, then it lets you settle into the competition. If it's been a good round, you can build on it, and if it wasn't so great, you can say, well, we've got room for improvement. And these guys are just keeping going, not the tidiest of teams, but they're making it happen.
The thing as well with these kinds of sports, as we very much know from the skydiving days before we were using tunnels so much, with these teams that have been put together for this event, especially these amateur teams, a lot of the time you'll have maybe one person with a lot of experience, very high experience. You'll have somebody who's just starting, you've got somebody else there. Out of the four
Yes.
people, you've got a lot of different energy and a different experience and different egos as well. It's a mind game, isn't it?
Totally, totally. And this team is a classic example, actually. This is Team 47 LCA. And we've got Jessica, Eva, and Nicholas, who are 34 and 36. And Patrick Sauvage is 70. So just as you were saying, real mix of experiences, ego, expectations.
70 years old?
70.
Wow, that's
70.
incredible.
So he's twice the age of the rest of the team. And you know what? He doesn't stand out.
No,
Can you
at
see
all.
which the 70
I don't know.
is?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
No, I don't either. Incredible.
70 years young, he says.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams already through. I can't believe it. It feels like we just started 1 minute ago. What's your name on Aspu Maubeuge?
Now that's a mouthful.
Indeed it is. Maubeuge, very well-known, famous skydiving centre here in France. Some good talent have come out of Maubeuge in the past, Leslie.
Yes, absolutely. Place of some great world meets. So these guys have 8 hours of flying together and not a single jump between any of them. Funny because he looks very good in that French. That's a French competition suit.
It is indeed.
With a Maubeuge, you
Yeah.
wouldn't guess, but yeah. No jumps, but 8 hours flying and looking very nice. It's a great vertical on the start of that 19. Building a nice cheated one there. Good center point on the close. Nice jump there.
It's a really good job. And we're seeing more and more now of non-skydivers in tunnel events. In fact, it's really diverse. When we first started with tunnel competitions, a lot of the time it was skydivers putting themselves in a tunnel environment. Now
we have that academy.
and a great example here of people who are not skydivers who have got skills. Check out the skills of these guys. They're incredible.
So this is a project team, the Aerocard Academy. They have several teams in this project, at least 3 on the go of different age groups, and they get free coaching. They're sponsored by Aerocard. They get free coaching once a month from world champions, and it really shows in their flying. You can see a few of these guys are stepping up now. This project has been going for at least 5 years, and we're starting to see these guys coming out of the junior program and going into the seniors. We saw 2 of them flying yesterday with the very experienced Monaco 8-way team. We're going to see some of the guys from the academy in the N1 teams later, and the appreciative crowd here loving the skills of these youngsters.
It's amazing how big they make that tunnel look as well, Leslie. It is a big tunnel, as we know, but when they're in there, it looks absolutely ginormous. All right, back to the action. It's a second day here at the Indoor Championships here in France.
And we're into what's going to be the top few.
Tout les hautes de France are in the airflow now.
And these guys also have no jumps together. They're just tunnel flying together.
What kind of costs are involved, Leslie, for a team to come and compete at this level? Roughly, as a rough gauge, without knowing exactly what the fees are here, what would you expect to pay per person to enter a competition like this?
Well, really, for a tunnel competition, it's very, very minimal, because you're just paying for 10 minutes of tunnel time divided by 4 people. So I don't know what they're charging them here, but for example, the Body Flight World Challenge, it works out about £50 per person, which is really nothing.
Compared to a skydiving event, when each person is paying for a skydive per round?
Yes, so then you can be talking about £300, £400. If you're entering a world meet, you can be talking about $750 by the time you add on all the fees that are associated with running a competition. So tunnel just does make it very, very open for all to enter. Of course, you're not really going to enter a competition and never have done any time of flying together. So of course, you do have to pay for the tunnel time, but there again, tunnel time per minute is cheaper than free fall per minute.
Bit of a crash.
So it was indeed a bit of a crash.
And what I was going to mention is, I was looking at the faces through the helmet, some big smiles, they weren't too perturbed by it.
Yes, I was talking to Radia yesterday on this team. She said, "Oh, we do not know what we are doing. We don't even know the blocks." So I said, "So who is your coach?" She said, "We do not have one." I said, "Oh, maybe you might try doing that." But yeah, they're entering for fun. They're doing the same thing in the 8-way. It's not all about big expectations. It's about entering the competition, being part of it, being able to enter the same competition as your heroes and your heroines. They're in the N2, but they're rubbing shoulders with the guys in the N1 that are world champions.
So I can see a Monaco helmet in there, Leslie.
Yes, is that Nico? I can't really see so well. Which team is this then? This is Les Improvis. I guess that means improvisation.
Slight mistake on the graphics. I think we're showing Team Darwings on the screen, but I think it's actually the team before, 512. Oh, it is Darwings. Yes, it is 513 Darwings.
So we're going faster than we thought. So Darwings is the last team to go in the N2, and then we're about to start to go straight into the N1. So boom, that's it. Round 1 of N2 of the French Indoor Championships.
Yeah, all done and dusted. We're about to go into the Open Championships now. Just a quick recap of the overnight scores. First place in the 2-way Dynamic Ninjas, followed by Ice Mountain, and in the 8-way, the Elders from Wimby, followed by the girls team. Here we go with the top category of the 4-way, Leslie Gale. Air Max, Aspou, Maubeuge, our first team. And the draw, Leslie, for the...
The draw is 7Q13. So that's the 13 there. Now this is the 7, the buddies. Performance spin, that's the Q. And then back to the 13, the spinner. So there's a lot of spinning in this round. Here we've got the centers do a 360, the outsides do a 540. Then we build the buddies, everyone does a 360. We have a moment's breath in the random, the Q, and then back to the aptly named spinner.
So this is one example of, in the blocks, where we don't have it breaking down into 2 pairs and spinning. We have a middle pair, but 2 solos on the outside doing a move.
Yes, and then in the buddies, we build 2 pairs, so not a single 4-way formation, build 2 pairs apart from each other, split into singles, everyone 360s, build another,
And there's the buddies.
2 pairs, and then back to the 4-way. So yeah, there is a lot of variation in the pool, even though when you start, all the formations look the same, frankly, when you look at the dive pool.
If you're watching the live stream, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Facebook, welcome to Wimby here in France. If you have any questions about the competition or how it's performed or how it's scored and judged, please let us know. Write us a little message on the live stream. I've got it open in front of me and we can take any comments and questions you may have. But in the meantime, it's me and Leslie with you all this morning and this afternoon. And I think we've got a special guest. Erwan's going to be joining us as well this afternoon for some French commentary.
Yes, great international competitor for more years than I can remember.
Yes.
And that's Les Quatre Crétins Camons. And next we have Exponentiel Aspou Maubeuge. How is my French accent this morning?
Very good. Team 403 preparing themselves in the door right now. Very good morning to Anne Van Leuven, who's joined us. Bailey Edmonds as well, great competitor, who's joined us watching the action as well. Next team lined up in the door here Saturday morning. Here we go.
And here these guys are in the N1, but their goal is just not to come last. Everybody gets their own goal, don't you? You find the teams that you want to beat, that you're having your own little competition with on the scoreboard. Maybe you're looking for an average, maybe you're looking to have a clean meet with no busts. Everyone will set their own goals. It's not just about the winners.
That's right. And a lot of these teams here, Leslie, in this open category now, in this top category, we've seen them at many events recently over the last few months, many different tunnel competitions, again with their own personal challenges against the other teams that they're up against. We've got the European Championships in Vos coming up in a few weeks' time as well. That's another competition everybody's keeping one eye on.
And I love it now we have these tunnel competitions, because here in Europe, where we do get a season, there's definitely the jumping season where you get excited at the beginning of the season to jump again, and then you're working up, your currency builds, you get more excited as the season goes on, and then it winds down to the end and you're trying to put those last few jumps in. And now we've got a second season happening, which is the whole tunnel competition. Every month it seems there's another amazing tunnel competition, so it's kind of a double skydiving season, outdoors and indoors.
It's true, and this B Air Force, we were watching these just a month ago down at the Wing Games in Spain, and they were very impressive. They came on quite strong. It's going to be interesting to see their scores as this story starts to develop. So just while we're watching this, Leslie, let me just ask you comments a little bit about the action from yesterday, especially the 8-way. We know those top 3 teams, as we would expect, the girls from here, the eldest team here, and the Qatar Falcons. But which other team peeped their head up? Which other team were you interested to see yesterday in the 8-way?
Well, Velosk QRF, the Velosk Quick Reaction Force, they are sitting in 4th place with about 64 points. Expected good things from them, but of course it's all about what you deliver on the day, and they were very, very impressive. And also they have Fanatics, no idea where they are or where they came from, but they're looking at 60 points after 3 rounds, which means they're running on a 20 average in 8-way, which is outstanding.
It's incredible, isn't it? Incredible. Cyberlabs now in. This is team number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of this N1 portion of the event. Still to come this afternoon, more 8-way and more dynamic 2-way. But right now the focus is on the 4-way. So apart from the obvious, Leslie, about there being more people, what is, would you say as a competitor, the main difference between 8-way and 4-way?
8-way is more about the setups. You all have to fly to references, you have to fly to your clone, or it just won't happen.
You can't
in
just,
4-way,
you can just get away with it in 4-way.
We're supposed to be referencing with our other. We all know that's the theory, point and tail reference with each other, outside and inside center reference with each other. But at the end of the day, quite often people do fly to grips.
Yes.
Whereas if you're just flying in grips in 8-way, you'll never ever do it.
And the problem normally would be the levels, wouldn't it? That's where you can get the biggest problems. When we say
levels
levels,
and
we
just
mean
not closing.
Yeah.
As you said yesterday, there's 2 rules in 8-way: build the center first and let the center build. A classic was Arizona Airspeed at one of the Valentine's meets up against the Golden Knights. And they built, instead of building a compressed accordion from the center, they built 2 4-way compressed accordions and tried to fly them together and wasted a lot of time. On that, they lost the meet. And did you know that's the only medal that Jack Jeffries hung on his wall is a silver medal?
Really?
Yes, he must
That's
have.
incredible.
He must have more than 30 or possibly 40 gold medals of all the ones. He just has that silver on his wall to remind him not to make silly rookie mistakes.
When we were talking there, we touched on one of the problems that you can get in 8-way with that builds is the levels, and we've got an opportunity now to have a look at the action in the tunnel when we see this side view of the teams. As if we just go to the antechamber, by the way, while we watch the team entering the tunnel, there we go. We can see the entrance into the tunnel here. As they're flying, Leslie, and we're looking at the side view, we can talk a bit about the levels. This view here now.
Yes, so that's perfect. They're all exactly on the level, which is what you want to be for the buddies.
And that's flying at the same altitude inside the tunnel, isn't it?
And then the spinner, now that's quite a challenging one. That back to the buddies, now they've got the queue. Now this spinner, because you've got a 2-way piece and 2 individuals, it's quite hard for them to turn and stay on level, because that 2-way piece wants to float, it's getting air as it turns, and it wants to pop up.
Yeah.
So the individuals have to concentrate on staying level with the center. The center guys have really got to keep the full rate on to stay down, which is quite challenging when you're already spinning a compressed accordion backwards.
It wants to lift.
Yes. So that was a great job there from Team No Limits from Russia. They were almost on a plane of glass, almost level the way through. But as you could see earlier, that spinner was taking some of the teams a little bit by surprise.
And yesterday in the 8-way, Leslie, with some of the high experienced teams, some of the levels we were getting, one side maybe 2 meters higher or lower than the other side, but still getting away with it, just clinging on.
And some of that is managing the space, because when you've got a big team and you're talking about, say, the Taj, which is you've got 2 side body pieces, 1 cap piece and a star piece, and they've all got a turn, there's not much room to get all those legs over and under each other. So generally the cap pops up and goes over the other pieces and then comes down. But what goes up must come down again. So it's an inefficient move. Whereas the smaller teams, the girls have an advantage like that because they don't have so much to manage the space. They've got a little bit more space, but also they're a little bit more on the ball with just not getting so much height in the first place, and we're keeping the levels and getting back on the level with any sort of 6-inch height difference that they've made. Nice round there from Ericot Academy. And those guys, when they used to be flying a couple of years ago, could see them in Clash of Champions, and they even looked like kids in the tunnel. You know, their body positions looked a little bit ungainly, like in the same way that, you know, when kids walk, they can look a little bit ungainly. But now they're really starting to look polished. That didn't look like kids flying. It looked like very
incredible
smooth.
skills.
So here we got the Long Cats Para 71. My French for 71 fails me. 71, perhaps.
And just saying a few shout outs to people that are watching. Fib Nuvon says, Kukwan Long Cats, well, the Long Cats are in the tunnel now. And our great friend and fellow commentator, Ray Ahmed, is watching with us back in, I think she's in the UK. But Ray, very good morning. We love you and we miss you.
Yes, we do miss you. She couldn't make it, Regan. I think that's why we got you, mate. No, just
Thank
kidding.
you very much. Long Cats Para 7-1 here.
And you see what you're saying about the levels, then, a bit of confusion there. But here on the spinner, then they're definitely finding there's an altitude change. All three pieces were changing altitude there and not in the same direction, which is not good.
Next up, Expendables Wimby, another one of our local teams who've been training in this tunnel for their first round of competition here in the French Nationals 2018.
So the ages in this team vary between 17 from Alban and 47 for Mikhail. They've got 9 tunnel hours together, 0 jumps, and they're looking to get an 18-point average. That's quite ambitious. Again, they're having some height differences. They're both on their 7s and on their 13s. Guys, you look like you need to slow down a little bit to me. They're rushing, good. They've heard that. They need to slow down and make those closes happen on the 7 rather than just spinning and hoping that they're going to come out perfectly on grips. That's nice. They've got more of a grip down the bottom end of the skydive. Good job, good reset. Of course, the nerves are high on the first round. You know that you should be doing the same kind of team paces in training, but the tendency is to get out there and go balls to the walls.
Well, we were watching the Monaco 8-way team yesterday performing well, probably very high in the tunnel as well. It's going to be quite interesting now to see what this 4-way portion of that team can do. Monaco SkyDream team.
And here again, a big age difference. We've got Stefan, 46, Jeff Ronzaval, a classic skydiver, 57, Frank Vazil at 51, and then young Killian there, who came from the Academy team. He's just 17. And they're ripping that spinner up. Really nice levels. Good job. I would say Killian has a good influence in this team. And you could see his little face beaming last night. He was loving it, loving doing the 8-way and loving flying with this great experience. Very tidy. That's a great round from Monaco. I'm impressed.
As it stands in the 8-way overnight, we've got the QATAR Falcons in 3rd place. In 2nd place, the Wimby girls. And in 1st place, with the score of 3 rounds, 76, Wimby Elders 8. Next up, we have...
Just in time, Nida Schnaffelonstein. You try and saying that one after a few drinks.
En France flies on. Good morning to Paul Prate, who's watching back in Belgium. Very good morning to you, sir. And everybody else who's joined us on the live feed this morning. Beautiful morning here in northwest France, and it's the French National Championships. Coming up in a couple of weeks' time, the European Championships. And these teams, the French teams, are looking for a place there.
A nice setup in the 7s here for the Les Affranchis. Very predictable. Nice round laser Fonchi. So now we've got just in time Nieder, Schnaffel, Holstein.
Maybe it's a German influence in the team.
And these guys, this is a completely scratched team. They've got no jumps together and no tunnel hours together, and they don't have a tome tunnel. Their outdoor average is 0, their indoor average is 0. Their goals are have fun, drink beer.
They're looking good.
They are looking good. They don't look like they have no hours training together. Surprising what matching black suits will do.
Yeah, looking very good and controlled and professional as well. And it's eyes of the world are kind of watching indoor skydiving at the moment with some of the big events that have been happening worldwide over the last 2 or 3 years. Viral competitions, especially in the freestyle element of the sport. It's capturing the attention of the world with multi-million views, and there's always right now also a slight momentum starting to take place with getting indoor skydiving into full professional Olympic sport. So we're keeping one eye on that as well. And France really pushing hard with their Olympics coming up. The iFly France in Paris have been instrumental in trying to drive this thing forward.
Really? And of course next year here we have the World Indoor Championships.
We do it in April.
Right here in Wembley.
Team on board now.
This is Lago, Odin, Nicholas and Amelie. This team's been together 10 days. They just got together for the competition. They're doing a very nice, tidy job.
You just joined us. A very good morning. Another little recap on what was going on yesterday. We talked about the 8-way, the 2-way dynamic. I mean, we only had 3 rounds, but it was complete drama and excitement and pure sport with that 2-way fight neck and neck between the Ice Mountain and Ninjas team there, with the one bus going one side, one bus going the other side, and the 1 second point difference between the Ninjas and the Ice Mountain, with the Ninjas just pipping the time, but getting the 5 second penalty on the first round and the Ice Mountain getting a penalty in the second one. It was pure drama, Leslie.
It totally was, and particularly because each time round 1 and round 2, the team that thought that they'd won the round ended up not having won the round because on review they got a 5 second bust.
We'll be catching up with that action this afternoon. At the moment now, this is a team which has been really making waves amongst themselves and other teams as well for the last couple of years, Tenerife.
And you can see immediately sort of the level has gone massively up. This is a step into a different league. Look how quick the keys are, how quick the turns.
Oh.
Martial really going for it there, as he always does. Now Moulet, I was talking to him at breakfast this morning, and he was saying, oh, well, you know, we haven't trained for this competition. It's like, yeah, but guys, you've been training for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Their last jump together or their last flight together was at the Wind Games, but when you've got that kind of level of training, you just get in and it kicks off.
I mean, I've been watching 4-way for almost 30 years now, and just where we are, a vantage point, Leslie, just on the outside of the tunnel, slightly raised up from the stage, maybe 3 meters away from the tunnel, watching those turns in front of our face of Martial there, were absolutely mind-blowing. Those turns, I don't think I've seen anybody turn as fast.
And you can see his knee going down like a centerboard, and then the other knee coming down to stop it. He's quite a showy flyer.
He is. That was extreme.
So this is Wembley Legion.
And Wimby as well, the home of the team, which has been pushing hard for the last couple of years, but sadly not in the moment, but pushing the indoor and outdoor world champions Hayabusa with their indoor performance, really scratching at the door of Hayabusa the last couple of years, Leslie.
Yep, scratching at their ankles, and I'm sure we haven't seen the last of them. Wembley High Rollers.
You can really feel the depth of experience in this tunnel of formation skydiving.
Yes.
The owners coming from their background.
And you can see how many teams they're bringing with them. These blue Wembley suits, we're seeing them all around. We're seeing them in the tunnel with the 4-way guys, in the tunnel with the 8-way, and we're also seeing them all around the building just coaching other teams. They can't walk past a team without helping them if they need help.
This is it. 2 weeks ago I was here for the first time having a walk around, and I've walked around quite a few different tunnels, but just on a normal day here there must have been 1, 2, 3 screens in use with one of the top Wimby flyers coaching people in a very intense manner. That was just on a normal afternoon of walking through. Really
Yes.
stunning to watch.
And how many tunnels have so many world champions giving out that kind of coaching? Obviously, you've got Paraclete in the United States, where you've got the Golden Knights and Kurt Werner. But in Europe, we don't really have. Every tunnel has some great flyers, but in terms of years and years and years of World Championship title, it's hard to beat this tunnel for the experience in the owners.
Yeah, it certainly is. And whizzing through the championships, Aspire, Wimby, Lille.
And this is ODIN coming up. Now, Team ODIN, they are very fast, very neat, very precise, very beautiful, and they don't all jump. Elisa doesn't jump yet, and she's one of the best flyers in the team. They have 40 odd hours together. And they arrived at the Wind Games, and Ray and I went, what? Where did these guys come from?
Yeah.
So I think we're in for a treat in a moment as ODIN prepare to enter the tunnel.
Yeah, I've watched them in a couple of events now. They've been impressive every time we've seen them.
So I asked them, what was your memorable team moment? They said, the day of our meeting.
The day of their meeting.
Yes. And I said, what was the worst thing about your team? We're very impatient. So on this team, we have a winemaker, a high school student, a dancer, and a military engineer. Now, that's an interesting, eclectic mixture.
That is a good mix. That's the thing about flying, whether it be outdoor or indoor, it brings together some very unusual careers that would not normally meet.
Yes,
in
some
the outside
strange
world.
bedfellows, as you might say.
Yeah.
It's such a great leveler. I love it when you're at boogies. You do a lot of organising at these exotic boogies, and you'll be jumping with people that you can't have a conversation with because you can't speak their language, but you can go up and build a skydive together. You understand that perfectly, and you end up with a greater bond because you've just done something special together than you would have done if you just had a chat in the bar.
I've actually done a dirt dive in mime because there was that many different languages we couldn't communicate together. We just mimed where we wanted people to be. It was a disaster. No, it worked great. ODIN parachute systems now in the tunnel. Check out this. Talk a little bit about this entrance, Azir. What's going on here? What are they doing? What's the technique on the entrance with the feet placing in the door?
Well, the clock starts when the first person starts to actually enter, leave, when the feet leave the door and enter into the tunnel. So they're trying to recreate what we would do on the exit from the aeroplane, really, where the clock would start the moment the first person leaves the door, or should we say enters into free fall.
And it's important that you don't have a foot actually on the net.
Yes. Not in all, the rules are slightly varied. It seems at the Wind Games it was okay to have your foot on the net. It's just at times as to when they release it. But that's quite an interesting entrance that they're doing here, and you wouldn't do that in free fall because they were launching two-way pieces, because that's the first point is the buddies. Whereas if you were doing that in an exit, you get too much separation in real free fall out of an aeroplane with a relative wind, and you would launch a four-way formation and then break it to make the buddies. But here they've got that luxury of being able to launch the two ways, but you still want to get synchronous because they want to launch those and then start off together. It'd be easy for the first pair in the tunnel to launch and start going, but you don't achieve anything by being faster than the other two teammates. You want the buddies to be turning synchronously so that you can time the finish, and so that you're all in good synchronicity for the close and for moving on to the next point. There's no I in team.
HF Extremo now, team 419.
And this is great. Marco has been, Marco was on the original Extremo. Extremo goes back at least 20 years from
Marco Rigo.
From Italy, yes. And so it's almost like this is another put the boys back together. He's flying again with them now, bringing his incredible knowledge. And good to see those guys back in the game.
Very prevalent coach and load organizer, very busy around the world all the time, full of energy and concentration. When you see him working and preparing a team. Just look at the launch here now, well inside the door there, reaching out with that foot.
And this is Amnesia from Italy. We're into the top 5 now, the top 5 teams in N1 or AAA.
And Amnesia now is another team which has been on for a couple of years, but with a couple of different formats, and they've brought in now Mr. Mario Fatarusso, who's better known for his canopy piloting work, part of the PD factory team and the swoop freestyle team as well. I didn't know he had such amazing belly skills. Well, he has.
A competitor is a competitor, isn't it? Look at Guillaume Bernier, who in the team that you were talking about, Wemby High Rollers.
Yeah.
When they started that team, he hadn't done any 4-way for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
He was doing swooping. He was doing really well in swooping, getting medals. You know, it's not about the discipline. It's about having that competitor's mind and being able to perform your best under pressure and actually enjoying it, relishing the pressure, wanting that pressure to bring out your best performance.
Gavorish Wimby next in.
And a classic team, again, has been around for so long. All world champions on this team. Used to do a lot of outdoors. Now for the last probably 10 years, they're, or at least 7, they're indoor only, but they love it.
Yeah, when I was
big team. Sorry.
No, carry on, please.
A big team of tall guys here. They will be thankful for this beautiful 16-foot tunnel where they can turn without fear of knocking your knees on the glass, because that does hurt when you're giving it your all in the turn and
it does.
You hit the side, which you would only do if you're turning off centre. So obviously I've never done that.
Yeah, but a lot of these French long-time competitor champions, big heroes of mine. When I first started in Ampura Brava, we had the 8-way and the 4-way, and a lot of the French teams were training there on a regular basis. They'd be down at least once a month, and so I used to watch them with their dirt dives and with their exits from the Twin Otter. Absolutely incredible standard. Now, this team, Qatar Tigers, what have they got since we last saw them in competition? Let's see, Leslie.
And they're ramping it up. You can see, like, it's really exciting going into these last few teams. You can sort of feel the pace build up, the energy, the tension in there. They're having a lovely round, the Tigers. Great 7s, chucking the Q, nice levels on their spinner, the 13s.
Fresh from
and they're really going for it, you can see.
Yeah, fresh from the Shamrock Showdown in the States. Just got in 2 days ago from that.
That's an outdoor meet, not an indoor meet,
yeah,
so they're versatile. It's not the same.
Bit of an injury there, just limping out of the door. What's happened there? He's not happy about something. Is it cramp maybe? Got a bit of cramp in the leg perhaps?
Well, they were spinning pretty fast.
Yeah.
It can easily happen. Especially on this morning, it's a beautiful morning, but it's cold and crisp out there. The dirt diving area is out there in the cold. You know, you're going from the cold to the warm,
yeah,
and going full on. So the Wemby girls, we're down to the top 2. So this is the French national female team.
Yeah, and I think they must be the favourites.
Outdoor and indoor. Well, they're the favourite to win the female competition. Real Fly Zayon, which is the French national team, which is 3 boys and a girl. They're down to come they're seeded as coming first, but I think we're going to see a battle between the girls and the mostly boys.
I'll put my hat in the ring now. I think these girls are going to take it.
Aye.
They're the most successful female 4-way skydiving team ever.
Yes.
Beating what the Golden Knights have they've just come back from the Shamrock Showdown as well. I'd put my hat on these guys, these girls.
Well, I suppose I better go for the boys then, but that doesn't sit well with me. But
there we go. They tricked you into that one. It's going to be interesting to see that Qatar Tiger. I don't know which one it was. I didn't catch his face as he was leaving, but he did stop against the wall, Leslie, and limped his way out the tunnel. It must have been a severe pain for that. I'm sure it must have been cramp in his thigh muscle. Now, Real Fly Sion.
What a competitor they were keeping going to the end.
Yeah.
So Real Fly Sion entering, and this is going to be the last team in round 1 of the French Indoor Championships here at Wemby Lille.
It's going to be a close battle.
Looking good. I will say the girls look faster, but sometimes slow is fast.
Yeah. Now with the 8-way yesterday, the judges